Well, this is WVU football going deep. I'm Forrest Poston. I assume that you are you, and we're going to do something a bit different this week or today. Instead of doing all of this in one long video, I am going to split it up into a couple of shorter videos, and I'd appreciate if you let me know which way you prefer. 2 short videos, shorter, or 1 long one. Just add a comment. All right. Today's player interview day. We had interviews with Hubbard, Ray, and Cutter. Some good stuff. This interview will be Hubbard because he's older and talks more. And you gotta, he's a guy you just gotta like. If you don't watch all of his interviews, please do. Couple of quick things he said today that should make you like him. He said that even if somebody is picking them third in the Big 12, that's still a snub. Anything less than being picked for the conference championship isn't good enough. And he said, although his time at Virginia was good, coming to West Virginia, to WVU, was the best decision of his life. I think this is a guy that when we say once a mountaineer, always a mountaineer, is going to stick. Before I get into the rest of the good stuff, I do want to say, please subscribe. It does help. Click the thumbs up button. Click the share button. Make comments. Marvelous, insightful comments are best, but any comment, any positive comment that doesn't include a thumbs down is a good comment. And please tell your friends. Now, as for what Hubbard is working on for his final year, it's mostly mobility, especially lateral mobility. I guess he's also been working on lower body strength, which is a big part of what enables good mobility. He thinks the line can be better than last year. And he recognizes how important Frazier and Nestor were, but that doesn't mean the overall line can't be better. It's just each guy has to up their game, and the players like to quote their head coach. He says you have to better your best, and that's what it's about. That is what they are working on. They are focused on conference championship. Not this many wins, that many wins, not just doing better than last year. Conference championship. Upping his game, he said, partly includes not just waiting for the center to make the calls, but studying the defense and figuring what call the center is going to make before they make it. Hopefully that puts him ahead of the game. Because, it's also a lot about studying the defense and knowing the tells so that you know what the defense is going to do. They're trying not to show it. You have to learn how to spot it anyway. And at the same time, he is more aware of hiding his own tells so that the guy on the other side of the line can't figure the play by looking at him. So when media or players or coaches talk about, 300 level coursework in football, that's the kind of thing they're talking about. With the lateral movement, now you probably know Hubbard had a weight issue early in his career. Turns out that his freshman year in high school, he was 400 pounds with the 50-inch waist. And starting in football and basketball. But you can get away with that in high school. But he said a recruiter who was there to check out somebody else came up and told him, if you lose the weight, we'd love to have you. And that was his incentive to start the process of improving his body. And he's now at about 320 pounds with a 38 to 40 inch waist, which is smaller than mine. But, and he says football saved his life. Yeah. Now, of course, I don't, well, he may have been 400 pounds even if he wasn't playing football. Maybe he would have been 500 pounds. But he learned to take charge of his life. And he also says, and this will come up later in the second video, that if he makes mistakes, he's too old to repeat them. He says that's what you do when you're a freshman or sophomore. Now you fix it. So that is, and of course, Coach Brown is big on not making the same mistake twice. But when you're a freshman, you do tend to make the same mistake twice. Learning takes some time. Talking about the other players, he's particularly proud of how Marchiol has handled himself. Of course, Marchiol has had to deal with being a backup and not being able to just pick up where he left off in high school. He did not come in and start or star, but he has put in the work. And now it is all about confidence and about being able to read the defenses better. And that's something that others have said as well, that his big improvement is understanding what the defense is doing, being confident in what he's going to do. So he's not having to drop back and think about it. And he says the defense is taking a big step. I've said that I suspect that. One of the other shows today, they were talking about who's going to be the player, the one returning non-starter who will step up. And they did name some good names, But I don't think we're going to see a player have a breakout season. I think we're going to see a defense have a breakout season. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And we talked more about culture. Interesting stuff about culture. Took some things a step further. Now, of course, he's bright enough. He's not going to be naming names. But we got a little more insight, I think, some critical stuff. Now, on the positive side, he said, culture is, it's the guys that work hard, guys who take accountability, show up early, stay late. And he said, particularly the team, they love each other while they've got Mike Joseph instilling a fighter mentality. So those things aren't in conflict. Now, a reporter asked, how many problem players does it take to screw up a locker room? Might be the best question I've heard in a few years. I wish I knew who asked it, but I don't. And because I've suspected, it may not take that many. And that's pretty much what Hubbard said. He said it doesn't take many, especially if they are some of your good players. You've got the talented guys who may be producing well on the field, but off the field in the locker room, they're complaining. Just, the whole griping thing, the energy vampire attitude. And I said that can really affect things quickly. And again, not many needed to have the negative effect. Now, what he didn't say was that if you're the younger player, maybe not starting or anything, you can't necessarily go talk things over with the, productive, talented player who's screwing things up. But the difference now, he said that because players are in the locker room more than the coaches. Players are around each other more than the coaches. They see the problems before the coaches see the problems. Option one is the players take care of it themselves. And he said, that works because they know each other. They talk to each other. They spend time together. So, if you go up to somebody and say, hey, man, you're screwing up, whether it's on the field, an attitude problem, whatever, you've got a good chance that the guy is going to listen and not necessarily just get ticked off or whatever. And of course, I think that played a big role when Donaldson told the coaches last year, hey, I'll talk to White. And that was the conversation that got Jaheim White to actually try the attitude change in practice that the coaches were pushing. And when he saw the results, he bought in more. If players can't talk things out, they can go to the coaches to say, hey, guys, we've got a problem. I expect that. I think that may have happened more often last year than this year. I don't think they're having problems that need to go to the coaches. If there are issues, they can handle it. And he said that's partly because the coaches are letting and encouraging the players to be the leaders. It's a player-led team. Okay, I think that was the main stuff with Hubbard. Again, man, he's just fun to watch. He has matured so very well. He was always a good interview, but now, man, it's top flight. I could see if he doesn't go into coaching, he could definitely go into PR, and I would love to have him doing, some of that work at WVU. All righty, guys. That's it for now. Again, please subscribe and do all those good things that help. Now I'm going to go do the next interview the next video talking about the interviews with Ray and Cutter. See you then.